So my first game was Diamond, and I actually got it used, so the first few times I was like, kind of figuring it out. I was actually playing on the old save file because I just wanted to jump right in. I didn't want to think about like, oh, deleting a save file. That's disrespectful. So I did eventually do that, but I did play a lot on that old save file. Because it was in Hearthome City before that Barry fight with him. And, having never played it before, I didn't quite, know any strategy, and there's no place to grind. So I struggled with that fight quite a bit. Um, I, I don't remember the entire team it started on. I know it had a Grotle, a Staravia, a Beautyfly, and a Bebarrel. I don't remember what the other two Pokemon were. Oh, I think it had a Luxio. But yeah, so the first time that, and my brother would also play on that save file sometimes because we just had the 1DS. And so the first time either of us beat the league was on that save file, but this was a game that I restarted and replayed so many times. I did actually restart in the middle, not deleting the save file, but just to get the catching tutorial, figure out how things work a little better, and then I went back into the save. But let's see. I think the first time I fully played it through on my own, I did start with Turtwig. That is the starter that had been originally chosen, but I absolutely adored turtles at the time, and I still like turtles, so I was absolutely okay with choosing Turtwig again. Let's see, I think I still used a Staraptor despite that initial save file. I used a Floatzel and a Rapidash. I'd imagine I still used a Luxray, because it's Luxray, it looks cool. And, I was still in the stages where I was mostly using my starter anyway. Those other Pokemon were mostly for backup. And then I don't remember what I was using earlier through the game. I might have used a Gyarados or a Bebarrel at some point. I don't remember what my main 6th Pokemon was, though, until we got to the end of the game. I know I used a Dialga. I know I used the Dialga for the league in my very early days of replaying Pokemon Diamond over and over. Eventually, I got older. I stopped using it. I had played it so many times, I'm like, okay, I want to try to do this game without legendaries. Still wasn't very good at actually cycling through all of my Pokemon and getting them all enough experience. So towards the end, I still had to grind a lot, but I would have a very high level Torterra, and then I would always end up with a Staraptor around the same level as the wild Pokemon. I would always keep, one Pokemon at level on hand for double battles. So, yeah, that's my experience in my early days with Pokemon Diamond.